Hello friends! In this video I'm going to make a recipe from the 1896 cookbook called Blanketed Chicken. This is a relatively simple recipe. It's a roasted chicken. So the chicken is cut in parts, and I have half a chicken here cut into parts. Doesn't look like a lot, but I'm just cooking for 2 today. Use whatever amount you need to feed whoever it is you're feeding. And then it's blanketed with bacon, but before the bacon goes on, there is salt and pepper. So I'm going to season it. I use Redmond's. At the bottom. Not too much because the bacon will have some salt in it. And it's on a rack. Whoops. It's on a rack so that there's some drippings, because there's going to be a sauce made from the drippings. And also so that the chicken is not soggy. She calls it in the book a dripping pan. Now before the bacon goes on, there's also chives. So it's a bacon and chive chicken. Put them in my hand just so I can see what's going on. A nice bacon and onion flavor. I think it's going to be really delicious. And from here, the bacon gets laid over it. So I have my oven preheating to 350. It just says a hot oven in the book. One of those recipes that doesn't have a huge amount of information. So it says with thin strips of bacon. And I think it would be best if I let the breast cook first and then add these after about, I'll give this a 20-minute head start. I don't want to cut the breast in half. I feel like it's going to dry out too much. And here, this is blanketing it with bacon. But it's also going to be blanketed with a delicious creamy sauce afterwards. And then take these off for right now. And put them in after this head start happens with the breast. Alright, it's been about 25 minutes. I'm going to take the breast out of the oven and add the other pieces to the baking tray. And I've had these in the fridge so that the chicken is not sitting out at room temperature for too long. Rest it on there. Leave a little space between them. Trying to tuck the wing a little bit so that the tip doesn't get burnt. And then back in the oven, I'm going to check the temperature with a thermometer at about, I think, 35 minutes, maybe 30. This is a small quarter, and of course wings don't take very long. And the chicken has finished cooking. I've checked the temperature. And then now let this rest while I make the sauce. So for the sauce, it's going to use some of the drippings. It wants a few tablespoons, and since I'm making a small amount, the original recipe calls for using 2 whole chickens cut into pieces, and I certainly did not use anything close to that. So if I don't have quite enough to make a bit of a roux, I'll add some butter to this. So let me measure out what I have. Certainly get a lot of flavor from this. There's chicken drippings, and then of course the bacon. Oh, I think that's plenty for sauce for this. All right, so I've got my pan over a medium heat. I'm going to add some flour. Now the recipe says 3 tablespoons of drippings to, I believe, the same amount of flour. Double check. Now 4 tablespoons of flour. And then let me do that first, and then we'll talk about the liquid because there's options for that too. I don't have quite that much, so I'm not going to use that much flour. I'll let this cook down. Get rid of that flour taste. I could use a little more flour, don't you think? Look at all that flavor in there from the brown bits of the chicken. Maybe just a little more flour. There, that looks perfect. All right, while this cooks down, bring it to a bubble for about 60 seconds. So the options to add to this are 1.5 cups of thin cream. That would be, half and half, or half chicken stock and half cream, which that's probably what I'm going to do. Intensify the chicken flavor. So I have heavy cream on hand. And then I'll use my chicken bouillon with some water as my stock. My cream. Smells like roast chicken with a little tiny note of bacon, but mostly the chicken is the predominant scent coming off of this. Just very savory. I'm going to turn my heat down to about a medium low. And I'm heating water to go with how I'll dilute the stock. Let's do a little bit of cream first. I'm not going to measure, I'm going to just kind of eyeball it. And equal amount of water and the powder, chicken stock powder. More water. A little more cream. I'm going to get the white pepper out, just in case. If you haven't seen the chicken Stanley recipe video, that's a really delicious stovetop chicken with a delicious creamy onion sauce. It's served with a banana to make it more upscale, because at the time bananas were very expensive. It doesn't need a banana, but the actual sauce is delicious. I've made it 7 or 8 times since I did that video for the channel. All right, let's see how we're tasting. Yeah, it's chicken gravy. All right, so I'm gonna do some more of the hot water and stock powder because it's still too thick. It's not salty, surprisingly, with all the bacon that's in there. I didn't put much salt on actual chicken. That Redmond salt that I use is not a salty salt. I don't know that this even needs pepper. It has a nice, kind of a natural chicken flavor. Right, rinse my spoon, give it another try. Perfect. All right, so let's go plate this up and give it a taste. I've cut a small amount away from the breast. We'll give it a try. That tasty, creamy chicken gravy. It's delicious. I knew it would be. I mean, how can it not be? Just simple roast chicken with bacon and chives. The gravy's really nice too. Just a nice clean chicken flavor. It's not overly heavy because I used half, fake chicken stock and cream instead of all cream. Delicious.